Hey, it's Hirsch and welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be unboxing and reviewing the 168th set of OHUHU markers along with their marker patch book. OHUHU did kindly gift these to me, but all opinions in this video are completely my own, so I'm going to be sharing all the pros and cons at the very end regardless, as well as if I recommend these to you or not. So let's get started. I'll be unboxing the fine liners later, so first we have the sketchbook. The products all arrived fairly secure and in good condition. So starting off, we have this little pamphlet that came with the marker pad with some info on the sketchbook in various languages. This marker pad is 120 lbs, aka 200 GSM, and I received the size 11.73 by 8.3 inches. The sketchbook is definitely more large than like the sketchbooks that I usually get, but I'm looking forward to using it because it's been a while since I've gotten a sketchbook that's specifically meant for markers. Anyways, we have this first plastic clear sheet to prevent marker bleed-throughs or stains from transferring onto the next page. And the sketchbook is obviously very heavyweight drawing paper and it feels rather thick, so hopefully it'll hold a good amount of ink, but we can test that later. The pages also come with a dashed line that make them easy to tear off in case you want to like hang up your drawings on your wall or something. Moving on to the star of the show, we have the markers. I was shocked by how big the packaging for them was because I just forgot how many I would actually be receiving until the package came, so opening it up was a surreal experience. This is the 168th set of alcohol markers, meaning the ink is alcohol-based and it dries pretty much instantly as soon as you put it down on the paper. The case is very portable because even though it is super heavy, which yeah, it does carry over 100 markers, so I expect it to be, it comes with like a carrying belt which makes it very transportable in case you travel a lot or you want to take it with you on vacation. After opening it up, the first thing that we see is this little foam sheet just to prevent the markers from moving around a lot, and it looks like the markers were separated into 6 compartments in the bag itself, which I'll be organizing later. But to start, we have another clear plastic sheet, and we have these small info cards and swatch cards. It comes with 2 swatch cards that you can use to see what the markers look like on the paper, because the cap color of the markers don't always match the ink itself, so I think that this is definitely very helpful to reference in the future, especially if you do plan on using these markers a lot. Anyways, now let's move on to swatching. So to talk a bit about OHUHU, obviously they are a very well-known brand in our community at least, and while they have various products, they do primarily focus on their marker collection since it's the most sought after and most popular. They have various marker sets focusing on skin tone, neutral colors, pastels, and general sets, but this is definitely one of their biggest sets. On the website, it lists that this is a combo of the 120 marker set plus the 48 pastel set, and it also comes with 1 color splendor, so technically it's a 169 marker set. I really like this overlap because I did receive their pastel sets last year and I've used the markers so much that many of my favorite colors in that set are beginning to dry out, so I do appreciate the overlap because now I have replacements for those dried out markers. I do also just want to mention quickly that you don't need to like replace the actual markers if they're running out, because OHUHU does have refills for the ink in case you want to purchase them, so you don't have to go ahead and buy like a whole nother marker just because your ink is running dry. These markers come with a brush tip and a chisel tip, and the brush tip makes it a lot easier to do finer details and calligraphy and blending, while the chisel tip is great for quickly filling in larger areas. Here are the finished color swatches. I did do the other page off camera because it was very time consuming to find all the markers, but I really like how it looks, and now we're going to move on to the drawing. So I am using fine liners to outline the drawing, mainly the 0.5 and the 1 size because they're my preferred sizes for outlines, or else it ends up being too thick, but the set does come with a lot of other ranges in size in case you want to do more thick liner or thin liner. There's just a lot, and I'm pretty sure that there's also a brushman that you can use for calligraphy. Before we go too into the drawing, I do want to announce that I do have a special discount code for you guys. You guys can use the code HersheyDraws, all lowercase, no spaces, which is on the screen right now, for 10% off of the entire OHUHU website. This code will be available for the next 2 months, so thank you to OHUHU for providing that, and let's get back to the video. To talk a bit about the prices, the markers cost $134.99 or USD, which if you divide that by the number of markers that there are total in the set, that's around 79 cents per marker. That's discluding whatever price it may have costed to make like the plastic bleed-through sheet or the color swatches or the case itself. Compared to other brands, it's definitely more affordable, especially for the quality and longevity of these markers, but obviously this is a very big set, so if you're purchasing this, please make sure to think about if you actually will use these markers regularly or not, because it does come with a lot of color selections. The OHUHU marker pad costs $19.99 on the website, and the fine liners cost $11.99 on their website as well. And the color selection is actually really good. I reorganized everything by colors before swatching it, which took like an hour, so I had to do off camera, but it was worth it because now I can find all the colors way easier, so I definitely do recommend doing that. I really like how even the selections are. Like, every color group has its multiple values and shades, and there's a lot of skin tones, which I really like as someone who primarily draws a lot of humans. There are also a lot of neutrals, like cool and warm tone grays, so I definitely like that because in their other like general sets, I've noticed that it's not very focused to do a lot of gray shades, so I really do appreciate that they have a lot of tones for the neutral colors here because I do definitely enjoy using them, especially if I have like so many colors in my drawing clashing already and I just need a neutral tone like separated out. Anyways, now going back to the actual drawing process, I am drawing Katara and Zuko from Avatar: The Last Airbender, which, by the way, the live action did recently air on Netflix, so comment down below what you think about the live action remake. Here's the finished liner, and I do want to quickly say that Katara is the drawing at the top, and there's also a Zuko drawing at the bottom with a mini Zuko drawing at the top right, which I just did for fun. Overall, when I was lining it, and even when I was coloring it, the paper is very smooth, so there aren't any bumps or texture, so it's very nice to do line art on. And by the way, all the drawings are screen caps from the original show, they're not like fan art poses that I made. The Katara one and the Zuko one at the top, I think it's from when they're like going on their little quest for revenge, and then the bottom one, I actually forget which episode it's from. I think it's definitely season 3, but it either might be like the dragon episode with Aang and Zuko or something else, I don't really know. Anyways, I definitely love the expressions that they're doing because I don't usually make my characters very expressive, or actually wait, that's a lie, because I do realize that I do actually tend to do more expressive art for my YouTube Shorts animations just because they're usually like mini animatics that are meant to convey more emotion, but with traditional art, I usually just do a cute pose and call it a day. So overall, it was very fun to try and play around with the expressions and how I can use like thicker lines in some places to emphasize like the character's anger or annoyance, and I don't know, I just found it really fun, so I definitely want to do some more expression practice, maybe for like a sketch with me video. Let me know if you're interested in that. Now moving on to some coloring. This was such a trust the process experience because I was going through it when I was coloring Katara's skin earlier. I just want to preface this by saying that this is not at all OHUHU's or the marker's fault. Like, they saved the drawing in the end. It's not because of them, it's because of me. Basically, your girl decided to experiment with skin tones and try doing undertones for Katara's skin. So I went in with a more green undertone, and then over it I went in with like a pink brownish color like to neutralize the two, and then I added like a dark pink blush, which, by the way, I just want to point out that the layering capabilities for these markers is actually so nice. I really like using them for that. But anyways, the problem arose when I realized that the blush was way too dark. I did not mean to make it that dark, but thanks to the markers blending, it was actually really easy to blend it out and make it look more natural. So the crisis was hopefully or thankfully averted. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I used mainly blues and purples to shade her skin because I wanted to incorporate the blues from her eyes into the other places in this piece, which, by the way, her eyes, like the color of her eyes is so pretty. So I also used some blues in the hair, and I used like this dark or light brown shade rather for her hair as a base, and then I used a darker brown shade, which kind of looks more like a black on camera in this lighting, to go and color like the roots of her hair, or like right under the highlights to accentuate the highlights and make them appear more lighter. And basically I just blended the two brown shades together so it looked more realistic. And usually I just do like soft shading for the hair, or like not soft shading like this. I think I do tend to do more cell shading, but I actually really like how this technique turned out, so I might use it more in the future. Overall, using these markers was a very fun experience because there's so many colors that I don't feel like limited anymore. Like, I don't know, it's just very easy, and like color theory becomes so much easier with the amount of choices that you have, or the amount of choices that I have now in comparison to when I was just using like the pastel set or the 48 set. Now to talk more about the pros and cons and what I would actually recommend for these markers. So starting off with the pros, they are very good quality like I mentioned before. Like, I never had any issues with OHUHU in the past 4 years that I've been using their products, and they never fail to amaze me with how easy they make blending and layering. Like, moving on, they also have a good color selection that I mentioned earlier. Like, it is very evenly split with enough of each color, like I said before, that you have more freedom to color more things, because with alcohol markers generally you can't like mix new colors like you could with watercolors or acrylics or even with colored pencils. It's very hard for alcohol markers to do that in a way except for like layering or blending. I also do want to point out the carrying case again because it's very nice and portable, and the overall capabilities of these markers are very nice. Like, they dry fast, they don't smudge, and they hit all of the basic checkpoints for me. Now moving on to cons, the price is around $135, so it is a large amount of money, so I definitely think that you should think about that. But I do want to point out that even though this cost may be off-putting, there are 168 markers in this set, and almost all of them have different shades and values and tones, so I do think that this price is reasonable for that reason alone. And other than the price, I really can't think of any issues or like anything that I found off-putting when I worked with them. Honestly, they worked really well. I really enjoyed using them. I had a lot of fun using them as well. And now I do want to talk a bit about the sketchbook and the fine liners as well, because I use them for the process. In terms of the sketchbook, it actually worked really well. It held the marker ink well, and there was no bleed through onto the next page, even though I originally forgot to put the plastic protective sheet underneath this page that I was working on. It's also very smooth, so if you're someone who likes using more textured paper, then I definitely think about that. But I personally think that's easier to like do line art on smoother paper than it is on textured paper, but of course that's just a matter of preference. Now for the fine liners, honestly there aren't any downsides to them. Like, they worked well, the ink dried relatively fast. I do recommend waiting maybe like 10 to 15 minutes if you're using super light pastel colors right after outlining, because it might smudge, because the outline is definitely dark and it's black, so it might look kind of weird if it does smudge, but I really do like them. Anyways, now for the final recommendation. The answer is yes, I would recommend them, but not to beginners, and here's why. $135 is a lot to spend on a single art supply, so I do recommend that you buy this or like purchase this only if you've already used markers in the past and you already feel like you really like them or use them often. If you're a complete beginner and you just want to try out markers to get a feel for them, then OHUHU has many other smaller sets that you can use to try them out that'll perform just as well. Honestly, at the end of the day, these work really well for their price, and I'm really happy with how both the art came out and how the markers worked, and I am also glad that I had a lot of fun using these, because that's what's most important. I do want to just say that definitely having more colors or more expensive art supplies doesn't contribute to your art being better, because I'm a firm believer that you can make great art with literally anything, even Crayola colored pencils. That having more colors certainly does make your life easier, and you're able to expand more outside your comfort zone easily, which can definitely be helpful if you're very interested in color theory or learning more of that stuff. Anyways, as always, thank you guys so much for watching till the end. I hope you guys enjoyed, and thank you so much to OHUHU for sending me your products to review. I really am so grateful for this collaboration, and thank you so much to everyone who's watching till the end. Don't forget the discount code, and as always, I'll see you guys next time. Bye!